Greeting YouTube. I frequently find myself talking to folks on the internet, either here on YouTube or Instagram, which are my two most common forms of social connection to the world when it comes to interacting with others. Um, and it's difficult for the topics to not to become controversial because I have no problem talking about controversial topics. And one of the things I've seen a lot is that I will be told by people that I need to stop listening to the propaganda that I've been spoon-fed, that I need to stop listening to X, Y, or Z, or stop listening to these pundits or these mouthpieces or things like that. And I've always found this particular line of reasoning fascinating because the one thing I can tell you is every single time someone has made that kind of an accusation to me or told me I need to stop listening to these different sources, they have done one thing, and that's been 100% wrong. They have never once pointed to a source that I have actually listened to so that I can get my marching orders and absorb the propaganda therein, because that's not where I get my information. I don't listen to others. I'm not turning to an authoritative figure to tell me how to think, act, or behave. I just I just don't. I'm autistic and I have access to the internet. And I've been reading nonfiction for 40 years. I have ample access to information that lets me come up with my own concepts and ideas. And of course, social conservatives will dismiss that, saying that I'm lying, much the way that racists will tell you that white people really truly are racist. They're just afraid to say it out loud because that's how they make themselves feel better. They make themselves feel better by convincing themselves that all white people are actually racists, because if they face the ugly truth of the fact that they're racists and all these other white people aren't, well, that would be something that they really don't want to think about now, would they? Well, all these social conservatives that are telling me I'm getting my marching orders from Soros, sorry, they like Soros, though I think they've failed to send my friend Amy her check, and she's very upset. Um, and one of the things they keep telling me this for is that because they like authoritarian sources of information. They like hierarchies. They like the idea that there's someone at top, normally God, who then tells someone just below God, one of their favorite cult leaders, who then tells someone else just below them something, and eventually it trickles down to them, and that makes them feel comfortable. That gives them the warm fuzzies, knowing that there is this chain of command, and they fit in that chain of command. Now, for example, in the case of many theistic positions like Orthodox Islam or Judaism or Christianity, it's the father of the family that is the authoritarian figure most directly linked to a person. So you listen to your father because he's your father, and that's the only reason you need. You give him respect because he's your father. Doesn't matter if he's worthy of your respect. Doesn't matter if he's a good human being. Doesn't matter if he's actually done things that are laudable and that other people have thought, this guy's a really nice dude, and he actually is a really nice dude, as opposed to say just the public image of him being a really nice dude, which is different than how they actually act behind closed doors. Um, they like those hierarchies. So they have been raised listening to people tell them what to think, what to do, and what to believe. And they cannot conceive of the idea that that is not the same thing happening on the progressive side. That if they are being told their marching orders, the progressives must also be being given their marching orders. Except I'm not. It didn't take me marching orders to come to realize that every human being is worthy of civil liberties and human rights. Okay? It didn't take someone telling me that beating children is wrong. I didn't have to be told that sexism and misogyny are wrong, though I ignored that message for decades of my life. And it was only after I began to study feminism and realized that the women in my life have been telling me this crap for decades, and I just didn't want to listen to it. So suddenly when got the wax out of my ears and started listening to what women had been saying for thousands of years bitching about how men have been treating them, suddenly I realized, hey, you know something? All that BS that I was ignoring, that I was putting in the way of listening to these women, that's the problem. Not what the women are saying. It's the BS that I put between me and them. So maybe I should start dismantling that BS, which I'm still working on. I'm striving to be an intersectional feminist. I know I am I'm not perfect at it, and I never will be. I will never completely dismantle all of the crap in my skull that made me such a poor ally in the past. But I'm going to keep trying as hard as I can. Just the same way I had to begin to take apart my inherent racism, come to face the reality of how the fact that I have benefited from being a really white guy. It means I'm standing on a mountain of corpses of people who aren't really white guys. That I am where I am. I have achieved the things I have achieved. A lot of the time just because I'm a really white guy. And I was given breaks that people that aren't really white guys never got. No one told me that. Or if they tried, I sure as shit didn't listen to them. It took me reading and thoughtful contemplation and therapy and medication and a diagnosis of autism and all of these things I worked on. And I got to without any authoritarian figures telling me what to do, what to think, or how to act. But that's a terrifying thought to social conservatives. Remember, every accusation is a confession. They accuse us of being programmed because they've been programmed.